This is great. As I'd mentioned, just as we get started, Matt Woodcock with ProLift Garage Doors. In my upper left-hand corner, Danielle Wright, our Chief Development Officer for everything here at Premium Service Brand. So if you ever want to know who I have to ask permission to, it's her.
And then I have to go to Dad and ask for permission. So it may not be good to ask me anything.
Then on the other side of the screen, my top right, the man, the myth, the legend from Amarillo, Texas, the guy rocking the ProLift hat, David Manley. He is here to talk to you about everything ProLift, how he got into it, what he's done since there, his growth curve. I know one of you guys are going to ask him about Kids Lift, and in fact, we're probably going to let him start off there. But just so you know, unmute yourselves. Let's make it a comment. Look at there, he's got his own little piece there. But unmute yourself, come in. Today is a great time. We've got an hour booked out. I hope we use every minute of it just to talk about ProLift. You guys are all at that stage where you thought about it, you're super educated about it. Some of you may even see the finish line in front of you, but today is a great day to just have some conversation. So with that, David, take a minute, introduce yourself to everybody that doesn't know you, and let's just get the conversations going.
All right. Hey guys, glad to be on the call today to help you out. I think Ryan, I talked to you the other day, right? I don't think I've talked to anybody else, so I just want to make sure we're good there. So I started, my background is 26 years in the retail industry with Walmart and Kroger, mainly on the East Coast. I did grow up here in Amarillo, moved back in 2017. I worked with a pillow manufacturer as a supply chain manager for them. Really cool gig. I thought that was where I was going to retire. And then they got bought out by a corporation, and I'm like, this sucks. I need to do something else. So me and my wife spent a 2-year journey trying to find something that we could do. And then we kind of landed on ProLift, and we really like the simplicity of the business model. You got one guy and you got one truck. And then you just kind of, scale from there. I've still at two guys in 2 trucks now. I launched basically September of 2022, slowly ramped up, and I'll just kind of go through some numbers for you. I did 8,000 my first month, and then I went to 16, then I went to 23, and then I went to 50, and then 50 again, and I've kind of stayed between 30 and 50 for the most part, except for a couple of really big months in the summertime last year, where I had some really big jobs. We had a bad tornado that hit in the northern part of my area. And I got to do like 8 doors over there, some big doors for a company. I did subcontract that out just so I wouldn't keep my guys tied up 2 hours away when we could still do service work. So that's that. And last year I did right at 680, which is kind of uncommon, but a lot of my growth has been in the install realm instead of the service realm. Last year, my average job ticket for service call was pretty low at $230. That's a number that I'm tracking this year that I really want to get that number to 450-ish. That'll help with the profitability because you're going to make more money on a service call than you are on a new door install. The new door installs, the profit margin are not as good. They're still decent, and you'll have to kind of figure out in your own market. One thing I've done is join the Builders Association in my local area, and that's been really, really good. I'm working with 4 custom home builders now, all met through referrals of one builder or another builder, and so I've got a lot of that stuff from the Builders Association. And then B&I is another good one. I'm kind of just rambling here, guys. So if you got a question, holler at me. Anybody got any questions?
Talk a little bit about. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben. Jump in. Go ahead.
I'm surprised. Are you getting results in B&I? To me, I've found that to not be as lucrative as you'd hope.
Yeah, well, that tornado job that came from B&I, but without that, I still had over $20,000 in revenue last year from B&I.
Okay,
that's been real good. We actually have my wife's in a B&I, and I'm also in a B&I. And we get, we have, I think,
So it's
30 people after. So that's been a really good one for us.
fantastic. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, I'll keep rambling.
I was gonna say, David, let's jump into a little kids lift for a second. I know we're gonna talk business, and you got a bunch of guys here that have been exposed to it, but kids lift is a big part of y'all's business. How you do it, and just that inner feeling of being so successful. So, take a minute, brag on yourself, my friend. Do it.
All right. So when they announced the Kids Lift Initiative, it's actually December of 22, and then it kind of slowly got tapered out. I think we finally got going in Marchish, maybe somewhere. And so my little background, my mom was an educator for 40 something years. And if you look at me, I didn't miss a meal. So the kids, but after I got out of high school, then I used to play Santa Claus at my mom's school. I don't think I've ever told anybody that before, but so I got to witness firsthand what a kid is like being insecure with food. And so that's kind of who we wanted to help when we got the opportunity to do it. It was, of course, 30 years later. But when we wanted an area to give back to our local community, and we chose Fill with Hope, who does 20 schools in our school district, serving over about 1,500 kids. And that's raised just 150 kids just since I started back in April, May. And it's just a great organization. It feels good to be able to give back. I don't spend a lot of time on it, to be honest with you. Everybody thinks that you're going to have to spend all this time. We don't. We sponsored a golf tournament, like a hole, and gave away hot dogs and donuts. The hot dogs and donuts were donated to us. We gave them away to the golfers. And if anybody golfs, you know what it's like after you played a while and even had a few adult beverages. You want a hot dog or something, and then the money flows a little easier. So we raised $500 for that. And then we got in with the grocery store. And with me being in a retail sector for so long, I had a lot of requests for food drives outside of our store. That's something that Fill with Hope did not have here in the Amarillo area. They would have food drives, like virtual food drives at like an eyeglass company's place or an insurance company's place. I told her, let's get one and do it right outside of the grocery store when the people are coming in and talking to them. And we were there for 4 hours. We had, I don't know how, there's probably 8 or 10 totes filled with food. It was a lot, but we also raised an additional $900 in cash. People just giving us money left and right. And they went back in and bought more stuff. So it just feels good. So we spent, like I said, that was 4 hours. The golf tournament was all day, but I got to play golf and then, just talk to the guys. So that, it did cost a little money to sponsor the whole. But other than that, you have a little money tied up in some marketing stuff, some hats and some shirts and some other stuff if you're going to do a food drive or if you're going to do a Coke drive or whatever. But you get so much back in return, and it's more to help you build your brand recognition. And I don't know if I'm a unicorn or what, but we did like 3 television interviews that we got aired, and I was wearing my ProLift hat, and did another on Zoom. It's a local radio station called The Chat. They do a Zoom call, and it airs live on the radio. So we got to talk about the food drive there, and then talk about what we do with ProLift. We also I got to do a spill on service work or whatever we needed to do. So it's been really, really good, and we were extremely surprised to win the franchise of the year for Kids Lift award. I didn't feel like we did as much as we did, but apparently we did. So it was quite an honor to win that award last month. So,
David, you've said we a handful of times. You're not doing this by yourself, are you? Talk to these guys about your team, and probably your wife. Start there, or you get in trouble.
The one that keeps me grounded, and I like her. She's very blunt. She's from the Netherlands, so I know where she stands on a daily basis, whether she likes to say it. And it's not sugar coated ever with her. It's like, yeah. So it helps me kind of refocus if I need to get refocused. And then both of my technicians, I did both of them. They helped out at the food drive. One of them was a recipient of part of these programs growing up, so he felt good to be able to give back to what we were doing. So it feels good that they're wanting to help something that we're doing on a company level as well.
Awesome. Guys, I can go all day. I've got all the questions in the world, but I know, Mike, you're never scared to say a word. Ryan, you've got 1,000 questions in your head. I can see them floating, kind of bubbling up here. And Tim, my man, I know you've got questions. You've been looking at a ProLift business for almost a year now. Jump in. This is a great opportunity, y'all.
So, David, my name is Tim. I'm from Maryland, and I'm considered in a ProLift franchise. And so what would you say are some specific challenges that you encountered in your first year that you weren't prepared for, even with the ProLift support or training that you may have had?
The financials piece of it, the profitability piece of it, a lot of it, and we did so many installs, how to bid a door correctly where you're still going to make money. So the way I do it is I get my price on my door, and then I do a surcharge, and then I add in my tax, which we don't have to collect taxes in Texas, thank goodness. But I do have to pay for the taxes when I get the door. Then I add 10% on that, and then I use a two-point multiplier, 2.1, 1.8, 2.5 to kind of get the price of the door. And then, but I also make sure I give the customer an option that I learned, after the fact, but keypads, they're $125. It costs you $30 a piece. It's a good profit margin. Surge protectors, cost you $5, sell them for 38. Punch dangle, that was another item that I wasn't accounting for. So I started doing line items for those, so I can see exactly my door's going to make me 30%, but I'm going to make more on these particular items, because you still have to pay for the punch dangle. It might cost you $2 a foot, and then I charge the contractor or the homeowner $7 a foot if I need to use it. We did a lot of new construction, so I lost a little bit in that aspect first going out.
Okay.
What other challenges? The scheduling part. The schedule is very fluid. You've got stuff jumping back and forth. You might be tied up with a job. One of your technicians might be tied up with a job, and another job comes in. You're like, how the hell am I going to get this schedule, or when you get to this one? So it comes in. I'll call a customer and say, hey, we're tied up with, we're an hour out instead of, an hour away. We're 2 hours away instead of an hour, or whatever it would be. We like to definitely, if our windows, we give them 2 hour windows. If our windows from 3 to 5, the technicians know they've got to be there before 3 o'clock. So if they're seeing it, and I'll call them, hey, how's that job coming? And they might be, issues. I'll definitely call the customer, and I'll do that personally. Let them continue working, and call them, let them know, hey, I know our windows from 3 to 5, but we're tied up. It's going to be more 4 to 5 window.
How often have you had to get behind the wheel?
Never.
A technician not showing up or something like that?
Never. Luckily, we did get busy a few times. I'll go out and do an estimate, or I'll do a programmer remote, but that's all I'll do. I won't do anything else. And that's happened very rarely. So.
And you have one technician, you said, and you just picked up a second one?
No, I have two. Second technician, I hired him middle of December of 2022, so a little bit after we opened.
Okay.
How did that impact your margins? With the second one, did it really increase the profits because you were able to do marketing cheaper?
Yes, a little bit. I didn't have a good year. Even though I did a lot of volume, I didn't make any money. So it's still, and I kind of expected that in my first full year, just to kind of figuring out. I had some, I ordered some doors wrong, or we had the wrong door price wrote down, or just a bunch of or not a bunch, but some stuff like that kind of threw us back a little bit. But having the two guys, I do have people tell me, man, y'all are everywhere. They see the trucks, and I have 2 trucks. Plus my truck, my personal truck has got a little, it's not wrapped, so to speak, but it's got a couple of door decals and a tailgate decal on them. From a marketing standpoint, I would say last year, I want to say my marketing was pretty low. It's probably 12%, maybe 15. And a lot of that, I think, was just our local presence and our local marketing helped that out a lot. I bet you I had, and I did this numbers not too long ago, out of the volume we did, about 250 of that came from free advertising. And a lot of that's on doors, not a lot of service work. Service work you're going to pay for, advertising wise.
What would you say is your breakdown on revenue streams from, let's say, installation, repairs, maintenance, any add-ons, stuff like that?
So last year we were 70% on installs and 30% on service. Which, to be better profitable, and I'm trying to right that ship this year, you need to focus on the service. But we've got a lot of local garage door companies here, but nobody picks up the phone. And they're 2 or 3 weeks out. And so I just started taking jobs and just trying to figure it out as I went along, especially on the commercial end. We've done a couple of big commercial jobs and got our ass handed to us. So we're not doing those anymore. But we've got a lot of farmers and ranchers in our area that have, big barns with big doors, RV sized doors. So I did not anticipate getting into that market. But it just came to me. So we figured it out.
David, when you say you guys kind of took it up the tailpipe with the commercial stuff, like, can you expand a little bit on that? What happened?
So I had a guy that was tired of his garage door guy. He's kind of a family friend of my wife. He's like, hey, can you help me out with some installs? We've got 4 or 5 installs. And they were good. My territory is the Texas Panhandle. It's 25,000 square miles. We were 2 hours away in Dalhart, and they had all the doors and everything delivered to them. Well, then they had, one of them was a 30-foot wide by 18-foot tall door that they did not have the right parts on. It was just, I don't know how many trips we took out there to get all that done. So I'm like, I'm not working for this guy again. This is ridiculous. One of the doors was, one of the projects was a 20 by 20 vertical lift over an I-beam, and that was, oh my God, my guys were like, and the springs on that I have one guy, both of my guys are fairly small, but you have one guy in a scissor lift with that lift, and the lift couldn't even go up all the way. So we didn't have the right equipment that on that big of a scale.
Okay, thank you.
David, you touched on a point about your territory and that you own more land than Ted Turner. So how do you break up your territory for people who might have a big area where it's north, south, east, west, or do you do some specific scheduling for that? Talk a little bit about your territory.
So if you take my northeast corner to my southwest corner, it's about what is that? 3.5 hour drive. So luckily both of my guys are fairly local to Amarillo. Amarillo is the hub. I didn't do a lot of marketing in the farther areas at first, especially from a Google standpoint. I didn't start putting stuff out there till later, and we haven't got a lot of jobs up there. The only ones we are from free advertising, builder doors, that type of stuff. So we just kind of take it as it goes. One thing that I do, it's not a brand standard, but we're so far spread out. We do a fuel charge in our local area, a percentage of the ticket. But if I'm going outside of this main area, I charge $2.50 a mile one way, because I can't go up there for a free estimate or, and not collect anything. You're 2 hours on the road, you're 4 hours on the road up there and back. Gas is not cheap. So that's one thing that we started doing. So we do get a call in that goes to the call center, then I personally will call that customer. I'll listen to the call recording first, and I'll call the customer, make sure what was explained to them, and I'll let them know, hey, we do offer free estimates, but if I'm coming to Booker, Texas, which is 2.5 hours away, I'm going to charge you mileage. So it's just, and then if they, if say it's a new door estimate, or we'll say a new door estimate, because I don't really like to charge anything when we show up for a new door estimate. But if we're going that far away, if I can get information from them on the phone to build the door, give them a price that way, I'll do that without looking at the house to try to save some of that travel.
A lot of territory. It's a lot of back and forth. So that's smart. Are you charging a trip charge just in general, or a service fee to show up? Or are you showing up and saying, hey, I'm here to make you smile?
Yeah, no, we don't charge any service call fees. We'll show up, we'll give the customer 3 different estimates, good, better, best, either a spring job or, whatever's going on. Spring jobs are our number one service item. And let them know, okay, this is what it's going to be today. This is in your budget. If it's not, if you want to shop, I don't say shop around, but they're going to shop around. But we try to build the value with the customer while we're at the home. The guys know, okay, I can, if say they're on the fence, say our single spring price is $299, which is about average, about middle of the road for our area. We do have a couple of chucks in the trucks that'll undercut me. About $179 is what they charge. We try to educate the customer if they do have one of those bids, like, hey, we're here. I can get to you any time of the day. Chucking a truck might be a fireman on the side or whatever. He can only come afternoon or on weekends or whatever. So the guys know they can add in a warranty on that deal. Like, hey, we're gonna add a 5-year warranty onto this at no cost. I got the stuff. I can do it right now, right here today to get it done for you. And at times I tell the guys, if you think you need to do a lifetime warranty, throw in a free lifetime warranty on the spring. Because more than likely that customer's either going to forget about it, or they're not going to be living in their home in 10 years. That spring will still be working, depending on how many times they open the door every day. So the springs we use are rated for 10,000 cycles. So that's 7 to 12 years lifespan on a spring.
See, that's a technical point even I didn't know. So there you go. See, even I'm learning stuff. Guys, we're about halfway into the hour. We got plenty of time. Ask your questions. Keep them coming.
You talk. My question is this. You talk like someone who's been in the industry for a while. Yet you've been in it for the better part of 3 years. How what's your learning curve like? How long did it take you to, acclimate yourself in that when you had a conversation with customers, you sounded like you knew what you were talking about?
So I've been in this about 1.5 years. I would say a good 3 months.
Okay.
And it's a funny thing. I'm going to use Facebook as an example because there's so many tech pages and owner pages on Facebook that comes through my stream all the time. If I'm late in the evening, I'm messing around on Facebook or whatever, and somebody will ask a question, and I'll just go back through and read the responses. And normally on Facebook, you can jump into a rabbit hole and
sure.
get negative stuff, and you'll get that every now and then. But for the most part, those guys are really receptive, and they want to help. They want to help everybody out. So I learned a lot of my stuff like that. I think the first month, because we were really slow that first month, I probably went on 90% of the calls with my technician.
Okay.
Just to, watch, give him an extra hand if he needed something, and just observed, a lot of observing. And I really dug into my, go back a minute. Service Titan will be your friend, but it'll also be your enemy.
Okay.
It is so, and Danielle's up there laughing. It is so, what's the word I'm looking for?
Amazing.
Well, it's amazing, yeah, but it's so paramount into your success as a company, and it can do so many things. I was just doing basic stuff with it. And over the last year and a half, PSB has realized that ServiceTitan is a beast to manage, and they're giving us a lot more training. We have 2 calls a week with Alex that has really learned ServiceTitan. I was talking to him at convention. He didn't even come from ServiceTitan. As much as he knew, I thought he came from ServiceTitan, but he didn't. But just the stuff he's learned, you know, for example, a stupid thing like, hold on, I'm gonna mute y'all for 1 second. My wife calling me.
Never keep somebody on hold. These are great questions. I mean, these are questions that I know you guys have asked me individually, and I'm excited we're here. You can hear them both ways. You can hear them directly from David. ServiceTitan is a beast, and while he's taking that phone call, we have actually taken all of the training and all of the support and taken it away from ServiceTitan and brought somebody in-house to actually do that for us now, because it is so important to us, and it's the foundation. All of our brands run on it, and by having someone in-house now, we've got direct access to literally the expert at ServiceTitan. So as you build it out, and as Travis Nicola and some of these guys continue to build out the price book, your resources are there so that it's much easier just simply, okay, well, this is what David's doing in Amarillo. I live in Detroit. I'm going to be more expensive than Amarillo, so I'm going to take his price book and plus it by 20%. Just because I've got there, Mike, you're in Massachusetts, you're going to plus his by another 10%. But you've got these resources here that you can now build off of, so you're not worried about local knowledge as much as nationwide knowledge.
Well, it's not so much the local knowledge. It's there's the running the business, and then there's the business itself. Okay, you have your margins and your revenue stream, etc. You want to look, the MBA stuff basically, and then there's the practical stuff like, is this the right garage door for this particular house? Is this the right, again, there's the jargon and the things that you learn by being on the job. It's a lot to take in, over a relatively short amount of time. So,
David, I was just chiming in on how we brought some of the training in-house, but Mike had a great point about the education of becoming, literally being able to wear the hat in public, right? You now know, you look at the door, you know the weight.
Someone's going to ask you about something, and you're going to have the deer in the headlight look. I'll have to, give me your number. I'll have to get back to you, and it's not the greatest look.
Right. Well, and I didn't come across that a lot. If I didn't know an answer, I would come right, say, hey, I'm not sure. Let me double check on this, and do your research as soon as you can and get back to them. I have that a few times. I don't know. I don't talk a lot, but when I'm with customers, I'm good at kind of feeling them out and what they're doing. And my guys do the same thing on doors. But I use AMAR exclusively, who we have our national pricing with on doors. I'm lucky enough to have a distribution center an hour and a half away, and I can get a door in a week. If I order a door today, I could get it Friday on a basic door. So I don't have to keep a lot of inventory on that. But the jargon, just like I said, the Facebook stuff, I've one of my garage door competitors is, I wouldn't call us buddies. I used to trade with them when I worked at that pillow manufacturer. So I kind of know who they are. And we have I have a friend of my wife's that works there. She does a lot of the bookings and all that stuff, but he's been a good mentor for me. I'll go by and talk to him, and I've given him some business on bigger jobs. And anytime I've got a question, I can call him, and he's helped me out with a lot of stuff too. But spend a little bit of the time on the forefront, kind of getting an idea of what your different doors are. Like we carry a Lincoln, a Heritage, a Hillcrest. Those are our 3 basic doors. Lincoln is our value line. Heritage is a little bit better quality. You get a better warranty on it. And there's a lot more you can do with that as well from a design standpoint. Instead of a short panel or a long panel or a flush look, you can do beadboard or long panel beadboard or that type of stuff. So it just took the door part took me longer than the 3 months. That was more of probably a 6 month to kind of get really comfortable with that. And B&I helped me out a lot, because you give a weekly presentation, you get your 60-second elevator pitch. So I came up with, different stuff like, hey, if your garage is, your door's it sounds harder to open, or it's making more noise, or it's slower than it used to be, it might be time to call a professional. Your springs might be fatigued. Let us take a look at them. Like on springs, you can actually tell when the date of the manufacturer was. It's up on the cone. It's stamped in there, the month and year. So you can get an idea of how old the spring is that way. You're not necessarily going to know the number of cycles. And then another thing that we do on spring jobs, if it's a double spring system and it's only one broken, we really try to push that. Hey, you really need to get the second one done. You don't know when the other one's going to break. My wife came up with a deal. When you go buy shoes, you only buy you buy a pair. You don't buy just one shoe because they're going to be wearing at the same time. And we do give so that $299 price we do for a single spring, we offer a double spring if we do it at the same time for $449. So we're giving them $150 value. We've already got the whole system apart. You might as well do it. It's not going to take an extra, my guys can get a spring job done. And if it's a basic spring job, they're in and out in less than an hour.
And I can't speak to a lot of this, but if you're really looking to kind of learn the lingo, I tried to do David Raymond is one of my dearest friends. He's our COO. He started ProLift. He's been in the garage door industry forever. And obviously I've been exposed to him for a long time, so I can talk a lot about garage doors. But even me, garage door, my door was having a hard time going up and down, but everything looked fine. They put some oil on the stuff, did all these things. And the one thing that I wanted them to come and fix, they couldn't fix. So I literally paid them to, tune up the system, but I needed them to hook up the Bluetooth for my phone to the opener. I couldn't do it. And I have a fear of ladders. Like I don't want to climb. I generally live alone. So if I fall off of a ladder, all hell breaks loose. But you're going to probably I can't speak to David, but in my part of the world in Tampa, Florida, we got people that want that technical piece and they don't know how to do it. It really is just pressing a couple of buttons on the back. But I spent $140 to have someone come and connect the Bluetooth from my phone to my garage door so I could open it wherever I wanted to. So there are things like that I think we forget are actually really insignificant, takes a tech small amount of time, but is a huge margin builder. If you're just saying, hey, if you can't get it connected, we'll come out. I mean, it's a service call, but still, like, they can then, tweak all of the other pieces and make it a value add as well. But I know quite a few of my friends have called garage door companies to do that for them.
Well, my concern is, you've hooked up with a couple of home builders. So I get this, I get my quick elevator pitch in front of a home builder. Here's my chance. And again, I all of a sudden I start talking, and this guy's like, he's talking about, and it's like, yeah, thanks, I'll call you. I mean I want to learn. I want to learn the front end of the house as much as I want to learn the back end of the house. That's to me, that's extremely important. I might not be on a service call, but at least I can talk like I've been on a service call.
Right. Yeah, that'll take a little time to build that into your knowledge base.
Sure, of course.
David, I've got a question. I've got overhead door here in Atlanta has been well established in this market. ProLift obviously is not a brand anyone seen yet. How different are their doors, and how easy it is to take a market that's been well established by a competitor?
So I tried to get with a builder that was using overhead doors, Thermocore door, which is a piece of crap door. And I tried to give him our value on the door, on what we would offer. I was still $1,000 more expensive at, under a 30% margin. I was trying to get his business going a little. I was around 28%. That's about as low as I want to go. And I couldn't win him over. But some of the other stuff for them that I had won over is a lot of their service calls. They're so busy. I had a gentleman that operates the FedEx facility here in town out of Albuquerque, and he called me, and they had one of their doors that wouldn't open, and it was something that was proprietary to overhead door. And I went in, and I'm like, hey, I can't get this part. He goes, I don't care what you got to do, get the part. I'm not using those guys ever again. They don't ever call me back. So to kind of get that business, I pick up the phone every time it rings. I think that's a lot of it, especially in my area, because a lot of the guys, they get busy with commercial jobs and they're going to make a lot more money on a commercial job than they are on a spring job. They're just letting those go. And so I've taken a few jobs from Overhead Door. They've taken a few from me as well, though. They can get the door a lot quicker. They're a lot cheaper. So it's kind of a little give and take. But anything I can get from them is a win for me.
Yeah, and also I've noticed Overhead Door has put garage door openers. So walk me through the logic of a homeowner that has a Overhead Door branded garage door opener, and I'm coming in as ProLift. Are they going to just go to Overhead period? Can I service that product, or do I need to replace it?
You can usually service them. A lot of the stuff inside is proprietary, but if it's say a sprocket, you can get a sprocket, or the chain or whatever. If the chain's broken, that's all kind of universal stuff. So yeah, my guys work on them all the time, and a lot of, I can't remember what exactly it is, but the universal remote controls, a lot of times we'll work those. My guys could talk to that a little better, but we have worked on Overhead Doors products before, and put our sticker right over the Legacy emblem.
Oh, nice. Okay, good call.
What else? From a marketing aspect, you want to track all your numbers. So in ServiceTitan, there's a way to add a phone number into everything. I really didn't do that at first. I wished I would have. Like, if you order business cards, you can get a specific number assigned to yourself through ServiceTitan that'll forward to your regular cell phone. But if it goes through to the call center, that'll get tracked as coming from that business card. That makes sense?
Yes.
Or your door hangers, you'll do a lot of $9 tune-up door hangers when you first start, and I had a lot of heartburn over that. But after a year and a half, we've got some people calling back, hey, you were in our area last year, we have this $9 tune-up, can you do us a tune-up? So I don't like to advertise those as much anymore, because you're not making any money. But if I get a customer call me back in a year to come do something, and they might have a broken cable that's fixing to break or whatever, and turn that $9 into $200, $250 or more.
With your territory as big as it is, do you have days that are Tuesdays the Southwest, Mondays the Northeast, and do customers have a heartburn with being 3 days away from fixing their garage?
No, we're able to get to any door almost on a daily basis. It's kind of comes and goes. We might be in Canyon in the morning, and then another call comes in that afternoon after we've got a job in Amarillo, and we got to go back to Canyon. But yeah, if I'm ever 3 days out from an install, or to be able to do a service call, and it's an ongoing basis, I'll be hiring another technician.
Okay. In Atlanta, the traffic, 10 miles is an hour.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's like you go one way and you can't get to the other side that day. It's just miserable.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Boston's no picnic either.
Yeah, we got to manage the I call it windshield time is going to kill. I would think would be a killer for profits.
Yeah, luckily I don't deal with that. I'd say 75% of my business came from a 60-mile radius last year.
Nice. Okay.
David, could you speak a little bit about the journey to recruit your technicians and what you're doing to retain them and some of that?
Yeah. So I had so after we signed on Discovery Day, and I got to work kind of seeing who I was going to hire. I used Career Plug, which is what we use through the franchise. And luckily, I didn't have to do a lot of interviews. I got lucky in that aspect. Called the one guy. I think I talked to him. Let's see, June, July, 1st of August. I built up. I don't know how many applications I have in Career Plug right now. There's probably 400 or 500 of them. Just I keep that job posting open, and just go through there and just look at it. I probably spent good part of 2 or 3 days kind of going through everything and looking. Went through the interview process with the guy. My first technician didn't have any garage door company experience per se. He was more of a handyman, but he repaired a few doors, put in some doors and all that. So I told him, what we were doing, what the vision was, what we wanted to do, and he was on board with that. And I started everybody out at an hourly rate until we got, and I'm still kind of on an hourly rate. I'm trying to get moved over to a more of a commission base, because I think you're going to be more profitable, and the technician is going to be able to make more money. But at the end of the day, you've got to make sure you're getting enough jobs per week. And my threshold is 15 jobs a week. You should be able to make, $1,100, $1,200 a week. I'm working on a different compensation plan right now that I'm going to roll out. I wanted to roll it out yesterday, but I didn't get everything done. So I'll wait 1 more week and roll it out to the guys. But a couple of things we do, I'll do spiffs along the way. For example, you're going to get $10 for every review you get that's mentioned by name through Google. But also I'll have a contest. Hey, whoever does the most Google reviews this month, I'm going to give you an extra $100. Or whoever increases your service average job ticket, say for January, you were $330, or what the average was. If you can increase, whoever increases it percentage wise the most, you'll get an extra $100 for the end of the month. So that I don't offer any insurance. We do have, my guys do have Aflac, but I don't pay for anything right now from that aspect. I think one of the perks is they get to take the truck home on my gas. So that's an added bonus. What else? I'm very upfront with the guys. What we're doing. When I first talked to them, I said, I don't know shit about garage doors. I want you to help me grow this business to where we're going. And both of them were, on board, ready to make it happen. So I think that helped a lot of for as much as we scaled, how quickly we scaled last year. So.
Yeah. And they're the same employees since you started?
Yep. I did have 2 helpers during the summer when we were really busy on some of those bigger doors. But that stuff has dried up a little bit, so I had to lay them off in November. I probably kept them about a month and a half longer than I should have. But I was like, please let the phone ring one more time.
So if you were to, let's say, pick up business from Texas and start over or start another business, maybe out of state, for example, some area that you're not really familiar with or so, what would you say, what would you do differently, or what would you say are the challenges that you foresee?
The area that I'm not familiar with?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I've never had that question asked before. I would do a lot of praying. And, because I grew up here locally, I think that has helped us from our brand recognition. I don't know. That's a good question. I would get to know the local market as quickly as possible. Get into your community, your chambers, start, making yourself known. Any type of parades, any type of trunk or treat events. We're doing another deal with Fill with Hope. They have a car show in April. I'm gonna put up a booth at the car show and talk about garage doors. That community involvement, I think, goes a long way, especially with being a small business owner.
Yeah.
David, real quick, talk to him about your facility. Obviously, you're letting your guys take their trucks home, which I 100% agree. I think that's super smart. Gets them locked in with you. It's part of your family. But what are you using for your facility?
Well, I started out with the storage building and rent everything out of the house. And then I quickly moved to 2 storage buildings because we were doing a lot of doors. And then I went to a RV size storage building. And from a cost perspective, the extra room you get in an RV size storage building will definitely, I think, pay for itself, because you're in there, you might step, if you don't have enough room and you're getting a lot of doors, and say you're maybe a week out, 2 weeks out from an install, and you're going to get more doors and more doors and more doors. Having that extra room in the storage building really helped. In April, we actually moved out of the country, or to the country, to a barn dominium. So I have everything on site now. I've got a really big office. The original homeowner had a workout room in here. It's 400 square feet. But I have an RV sized storage shop, so to speak. I have a covered area outside, and then I'm working on cleaning out some more deals, and I'm going to put in a Connex on the back end of the property for some pan doors and stuff, to start ordering up on those slowly.
Congratulations. That kind of growth is awesome to see.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Do you find it different on customers, like inner city, like downtown versus country guys? Like everyone has a truck. Are they a different type of customer than people who have the Teslas and drive around?
Yeah, they'll be a little bit different. And my guys, we kind of approach those customers differently. You got to have a different, you build your rapport with them and figure out what makes them tick when you're first talking to them. But yeah, the more technical type of customer, you're going to find out they're going to, you got to approach them differently than you are a redneck, for lack of a better word there. But my majority of my area is country folks. You'll have a couple of, like, we work with a doctor, and he just wanted to know what the price of the house, what the price of the door was. He's like, he was kind of an asshole, but my guy's like, all right, we'll just deal with it, and go. Start. This is where we're at. This is what we're going to give you. Okay, order it and let's go. Whereas you might have, country boys like, well, how's this work? And the different aspects of the technical. There's a lot of folks around here do a lot of the work themselves.
That's what I thought. And I just wondered if that market was going to be harder, but it sounds like you're hitting it really well, being more rural.
Yeah. I think in both my guys, I call them rednecks. I mean, they can, like my original technician, I'll tell a customer, I go, he can figure out anything. He's got the redneck mentality. He's, put a hairpin in something to make it work, or whatever. But yeah, he can figure stuff out. He's pretty good. And my other guys too, but he's more of the technical side of it, like computer side of the operators and stuff like that.
Guys, I'm going to give us just a quick heads up. We got about 5 minutes left. This has been an incredible hour. I appreciate it. But if you're sitting on a question, if you're scared to ask, you want me to do it, put it in the chat. But one more time around the horn for David, if you've got any last thoughts. We got about 5 minutes left. I didn't mean to scare you all off. Come on.
I have a question.
The chair recognizes Danielle Wright. Go ahead.
So when you were looking at this originally, I'm going to take it back, way, way back. I'm going to make an assumption here that everybody on the screen has probably looked at a bunch of different franchises at this stage of the game, and I'm sure Mr. Manley did too. What was the thing here that said this was the right fit for y'all? Because you just said that you signed at Meet the Team Day, and that is a rarity in my world for doing this for 15 years. So tell me, what was the thing that really sealed the deal for you guys?
Well, when we went to Charlottesville, I mean, that's so I'm familiar with Charlottesville. I did live in Richmond when I worked for Walmart and Kroger, so I had a little bit of a history there. But just the support and that we get and that was offered to us while we were there during Discovery Day, get to, similar thing. You go through and ask, there's no questions that are not off the books or whatever. I'm not looking for the right word here, but we like the support that was there, the way the friendliness and the the team aspect of everything that goes on at the headquarters. That's what sold me and Natasha on it.
Thank you.
David, obviously the investment is pretty significant starting up. You're in a year and a half in. Have you covered all of your investment and now going into the right profits, or are you still paying off that?
I'm still paying off the initial investment plus some. We had to put in a little extra. Some of that was by design on our marketing. We first did the first 4 months, and mistakes along the way. Like I would say, hold on to your capital as much as you can. You might get this loan from the SBA or whoever you're going through. You get a line of credit or whatever. Oh, I got money. Let me just go buy a truck. In your back of your mind, you're thinking that's how you would do it as a person. As a business owner, your cash is your king. You need to hold on to your cash. And I did not do that when we first started. I bought my first truck outright. I had the cash. I bought a trailer, which I'm glad I did. I use it a lot. I definitely get my monies out of it. But you take that $26,000 that I spent on that truck, I would rather have that 10 months down the road to, either put into some marketing or to pay a bill or whatever, and pay a monthly fee. So you're gonna spend more on the truck in the long run. That's kind of the cost of doing business. Yeah, hold on to your cash as much as you can, for sure.
You know what? Why don't we end on that one? I think that's a pretty good analogy. As you guys are all looking to become business owners, cash is king, and making sure you've got the capital so that you can execute. Whether it's, as David said, a great marketing initiative, a customer comes along and wants to put in 25 garage doors in their gazillion-dollar mansion outside of Boston. Mike, you're going to love that guy, but you want to make sure you can buy the doors so that you can push that through. So there's some great things. David, thank you. Thank you for spending an hour. I know it's the middle of the day, and I appreciate you taking time to visit with these guys. Mike, Ryan, Ben, Tim, thank you. We've all been working together for a good bit of time now. I appreciate you giving us a little extra time. Myself, Danielle, David, we're always available. If you have a question, you can always reach out to us. We'd be happy to do it. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And go ahead, sir. One more.
One more question that came on. I think I talked to Ryan about this, but any of your suppliers that you go through, and I'm part of the franchise advisory committee for ProLift, but we're working on some national pricing stuff. But go after your buyer, whoever that is, and really try to negotiate your prices lower. My initial order was service spring. I paid $40 for a 207 spring. My last order I just got in, I got that price reduced to $14. So and what I did, I'm part of my downfall, if you will, is I go after stuff too fast and I don't think about it. So if I would have slowed down just a little bit, I'm like, okay, I got to get this ordered. So I'm gonna get it on order. Let me get it paid for. Let me get it done. Slow down a little bit and then reach out to whoever your buyer, who your vendor supplier is. Okay, I know we're working on national pricing. Is this the best price you can give me? And shop around too. I mean, it never always pays to shop around. It's kind of like you're buying a car. So, but yeah, I want to throw that out there too, because that's definitely something you can save some money on.
Power in the family. Power in the family. Everybody, thank you so much. Again, we're always here to help you in any way, but I really appreciate you taking the time this afternoon. David, as always, you're a rock star. Thank you for everything you do for ProLift.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
Thanks,
Bye,
Tim.
everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Have a good one.
Thank you for your time.
Bye, everyone.